Hello, and thanks to everyone for stopping by for this quick review on how to use and cite sources. Wait just a minute, you say. People actually use sources and cite them in real-world business writing? Absolutely. Here's a page from bizfluent.com that shows you how to cite sources in a business plan. Here's a page from Career Trend that shows you how to cite sources in a business letter. And here's a page from smallbusiness.com that shows you how to cite sources in a business memo. What's going on here? Very simple. The use of citations in business documents is required, not just to be ethical, giving credit when using the work of others. Using sources in business documents is also a persuasive device. Why? Because smart decisions are crucial to the success of any business, and those decisions must be based on the most reliable, credible, and up-to-date information available. Some of that information comes from internal data, and some comes from outside sources, which must be cited. Regardless of what kind of source you found or where you found it, there are only two ways of using it. You can quote it, word for word, just like you found it, or rephrase it in your own words. This is sometimes called paraphrasing or summarizing. Let's look at each. First, quoting. Here's a passage from Rachel Adele. Now, if you want to use that quote in your marketing report for your new colon cancer screening kit, you might write something like this. According to Rachel Adele, quote, "Deaths from colon cancer occur twice as often in women as in men, but the media make it seem that breast cancer is the #1 killer of women." Citation. Pretty simple. You introduce the quote with your own phrase, set off the quote with a comma, and mark the beginning and end with quote marks. Now, the only other way you can use Adele's material is to rephrase it in your own sentence, like this. Although twice as many women die from colon cancer as men, the media choose to focus on breast cancer as the main threat to women. Citation. The rephrased version says the same thing as the original, but in your own language. Sure, certain keywords have to be repeated. Colon cancer, women, men, media, breast cancer. That's fine. After all, there's only one way to say square root. But there's no doubt the original passage has been successfully translated into your own way of saying it. So that's it. Those are your only two choices when using an outside source. Quote it or rephrase it. And, by the way, both must be cited. Okay, a few pro tips. Tip number 1. Facts and stats are almost never quoted but simply stated. For example, for women, 72 is the average age for a colon cancer diagnosis. Citation Colorectal Cancer Alliance. But this you would not want to write. There's no need for that quote. It's just a fact. You want to save your quotations. Why? Because in business writing, use quotations extremely sparingly. Limit their use to only those quotes that grab attention and drive home a point. For example, look at this paragraph on prison rehabilitation. Supposedly, rehabilitation includes providing inmates essential skills needed to assimilate after release. However, most inmates receive little meaningful help. Once released, they're right back where they started. And now, the money quote. Talbot puts it this way. Many will be drug users who receive no treatment, sex offenders who got no counseling, and high school dropouts who still can't read. Talbot's dramatic phrasing captures the frustration of the revolving door of incarceration. That's the kind of writing that justifies a quote. Now, in business writing, you normally only use sources to support something you've already said in your own words. Let's see how this works. Here's a sample paragraph that argues in favor of allowing remote working. It's long, but bear with me. Note the sandwich-like configuration of this paragraph with sources. The author first makes a claim in his own words and transitions to research supporting the claim. then more of the author's commentary that transitions to more research. Then the paragraph ends with the author's original claim and recommendation. It's called the source sandwich and looks something like this. In the top layer, in your own words, introduce the topic of the paragraph and discuss it. This is where you state your claims and recommendations in your own language. In the middle portion, present source evidence to support your claims. Remember to cite these sources with in-text citations. Finally, after presenting the evidence, explain how it supports the claim or recommendation you stated at the beginning of the paragraph. And now you see the secret to integrating sources. When writing, you are the expert. Your job is to present and support your opinions, your conclusions. When using these sources, your thoughts and ideas still remain the focus.